So this is the Plus variant of the iPhone 15. So most of the things are similar to the iPhone 15 except the size, the screen size and the battery size. It's a big phone, man, and it weighs around 201 grams. That's a lot. But because of the weight distribution, you don't really feel it in your hand. It's also a glass sandwich phone, means glass at the front and back and aluminum sides. But the iPhone 15 is the first standard iPhone to actually get the dynamic island and the frosted back panel because of that. This phone is the first standard iPhone to get a 2000 nits of peak brightness screen, plus the dynamic island features alongside the dynamic island. Yeah, I don't use it much, but it's a nice thing to have, you know. It's not like the notch that doesn't do anything. But not having any anti-reflective coating on the display isn't that great, which sucks a little, but it's not the hugest deal at all because it's super bright under direct sunlight. And then the biggest downside, the 60Hz screen. Yeah. Even though it's otherwise awesome, it's still 60Hz compared to like the iPhone 17 with 120Hz adaptive refresh rate, which feels a lot more smoother, also kinder on the battery. And I'm going back and forth between this, the iPad Pro, even my Samsung Ultra, and I don't see why I would actually complain. But surely I couldn't justify it even when it was launched, and I still can't. But still, you can manage with it if you are not too picky about it. But how is the performance? If you look at the Antutu benchmark, then here is the result. And if you look at the Geekbench numbers, then the iPhone 15 got around 2,400 points in the single-core test and 6,000 points in the multi-core test. Honestly, I never felt any lag and it never seemed slow to me. So A16 Bionic is great. And the best part, it doesn't overheat much. Unless I crank up the brightness to the max and use the camera under direct sunlight, yeah, surely any phone would go crazy. But even with high brightness inside the home, I don't feel overheating at all. Surely it doesn't run Apple Intelligence, which I don't really use it on my iPad Pro either. It's just nowhere close to Galaxy AI or Gemini, so it just doesn't matter to me. But at the same time, I think the 6GB of RAM is good enough. I'm not saying it's plenty, but it's enough. But yeah, one sure downside is actually 128GB of starting storage on the iPhone 15 models. It's the same story for the 16 or 16 Pro, but 17 series actually even the base model started with 256GB. So this is actually the best part of the 17. But then again, you still had the 512GB option for the iPhone 15 or 15 Plus as well. And it's a very loud phone. It can get really loud. It's the first iPhone to get a Type-C port. This is still a USB Type-C 2.0 port, so the bandwidth is still limited to 60 megabytes per second. So if you're transferring big files, they're very slow. I mean, with my 20-watt adapter, it's still fast, like from 0 to 80% in about like 40 minutes or so. Current battery health, it's at 88% now. It went from 96% to 88% in just 2 months, which was crazy. But since then, it has been pretty stable because I only charge it to 80%. So you know the deal what you need to do. Even after 2 years, the battery still holds up pretty good. Like I'm not suffering at all with the 15 Plus. If you have the 15, you might suffer. And then it still does have the newer Qi2 supported wireless charging at 15 watts, 4.5 watts of reverse wireless charging for AirPods and stuff. But I didn't upgrade to the iOS 26, and that's mostly because I don't like the liquid glass thing, not also the battery problems that comes with a major update. So I'm skipping that. This phone is also the first standard iPhone to get the 48 megapixel main camera, and it's a 1/1.56 inch sensor, similar to the iPhone 17, and it is actually from the iPhone 14 Pro. And the best part, it got an f1.6 aperture, which is even better than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So if you take a full resolution photo, even at night, the detail levels are so crazy and way more reliable than many phones in its class. Plus, the night mode photos are quicker because of that. And also the first standard iPhone to get the 2x lossless zoom using the sensor crop technology. So you have the virtual 2x zoom. Now there is also a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, which is awesome, but sadly there is no macro mode. And then there is the typical video features like 4K 60 fps recording with Dolby Vision HDR, slow mos up to 240 fps at 1080p, and awesome video quality. Yeah, it surely doesn't have the ProRes recording or raw photo capturing experience, but you can use third-party apps to do exactly that. Plus, it does have the ultra-wideband chip, also have the SOS through satellite. So if you don't really care about the 120Hz thing as much, and you are surely doesn't care about super thin bezels, then yeah, the iPhone 15 Plus is totally fine for you.
And yes, if you want, you can get some crazy
And
cool
you don't need to
wallpapers
jump to
up on
iPhone
my
7 and make your
website.
own one.
Link down below. Until the next one, bye and take care.